This is the big corporate story tonight. Turbulence in the Indian skies as another airline is strapped for cash. GoFirst is filing for bankruptcy. The airline has voluntarily moved the National Company Law Tribunal under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code. It suspended its operations and has cancelled its flights scheduled for May 3rd and 4th. GoFirst is blaming Pratt & Whitney engine failures, which have resulted in grounding of 25 aircraft. This is equivalent to 50% of its fleet as of the 1st of May. Now, following the flight cancellation, the aviation regulator, the DGC, has issued a show-cause notice to GoFirst for failing to follow the approved schedule, which will lead to passenger inconvenience. This means the airline has violated the provisions under the civil aviation requirement. The airline CEO, Kaushik Khona, told CNBC-TV18 exclusively that GoFirst was forced to file a case against Pratt & Whitney in a U.S. federal court in Delaware. The airline claims that Pratt & Whitney is refusing to comply with an arbitration order issued by the Singapore International Arbitration Centre. So, GoFirst files for bankruptcy back home and files against Pratt & Whitney in a U.S. federal court in Delaware. Ritu joins us now. Ritu, it's a rare case of a prominent company voluntarily filing for bankruptcy. What do you make of this, and what is the way forward?
Well, Shireen, we've seen plenty of voluntary liquidations take place at about 1,200 companies that may have filed for that since 2016, IBC being introduced. But a case of a company filing for self-bankruptcy under Section 10 is much rarer. We have seen examples of much smaller companies that probably did not make the headlines going through this route. But among the more prominent names, like you said, GoFirst seems to be one of the first. So this will set an important precedent as well for the industry. Now, Section 10 of the IBC primarily just says that the corporate insolvency resolution process being initiated by the corporate applicant himself. Now, what is the reason the company may undertake this step? The very first and most important reason is the second your application gets admitted in the court, and not application being filed, but being admitted in the court, the moratorium kicks in, which means the likes of your Pratt & Whitney or any of your large lenders cannot initiate any recovery action against the company. So the company will be ring-fenced, protected by the court the minute the application gets admitted. So that is one of the big plus points. It gets to clean up the balance sheet in a decent way. But, as far as the process itself is concerned, similar to what we've seen in IBC cases, once the application is admitted, and this is, assuming that the lenders do not oppose this, because, it could be a case where, some of the large lenders, you have Central Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, Deutsche Bank, they may say the filing is premature because once the company goes into IBC, they cannot enforce securities to recover their dues. So if any of the lenders, we do not know this yet, if the lenders oppose it, we'll have to see whether the application gets admitted. Once it does get admitted, an insolvency resolution professional is going to be appointed, and they will invite bids. But again, here there's a question mark, because we saw in the case of Jet Airways as well, the demand for aviation isn't the strongest in the current market. Jet Airways was unable to find a buyer for the longest time. We know that case is yet to be closed with their new prospective applicants. So it's a question mark. Air India's hands are full. Jet has gone down. Whether Indigo or the others have an appetite to absorb an airline like Go Air. So we'll have to see how this proceeds. As of now, the debt for banks, according to various sources, is about 5,600 crore rupees. The next action will, of course, be in the courts.
All right, Ritu, appreciate you joining us and taking us through the implications of the decision by GoFirst to voluntarily file for bankruptcy.